He never expected to survive the night, let alone find a friend who would change the course of his destiny. The wind howled across the frozen plains like a wounded beast, swallowing every sound in its icy jaws. Beneath that endless sky, a young boy, barely on the edge of becoming a man, crawled through snow that threatened to bury him alive. His name was Keda, and the only reason his heart was still beating was because he refused to die where he fell. Before the story goes on, dear listeners, if this emotional journey touches your heart even a little, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel Whispers of Kindness. Your support helps us keep bringing these stories to life. And now, let us return to the frozen world where it all began. Keda had been raised to be strong, but no strength could prepare him for that winter. His tribe had taught him to hunt, to track, to stand with honor, yet nothing taught him how it felt to be left behind. The great hunt had gone wrong. One misstep, one slip on a jagged cliff, and Keda was thrown into a ravine so deep it swallowed light. When his father and the hunters had looked down, seeing no movement, they believed him gone. A heartbroken farewell, a mourning song rising with the wind, and then they left. But he wasn't dead. His leg was torn, his body bruised, but his spirit, though trembling, still held on. Each breath tasted like fire in his lungs, and every movement felt like pushing against death itself. Still, he forced himself to stand, to limp, to pull himself through the merciless cold. Days blurred together, hunger clawed at him, and the nights grew colder, darker, lonelier. It was on one of those nights, when the stars refused to shine, that he first heard the growl. A shadow emerged from the darkness. A wolf, eyes sharp with rage and pain, its body limping just as he was. Keda held a sharpened bone spear in trembling hands. He didn't want to fight. The wolf didn't care. It lunged. In fear and instinct, Keda defended himself. When the struggle ended, the wolf lay whimpering in the snow, wounded but alive. Keda could have left it. Every lesson he'd been taught told him to walk away. But something in the creature's eyes stopped him. Maybe it was pain. Maybe loneliness. Maybe the ache of two souls abandoned by the world. So instead of turning away, he dragged the wolf, slowly, painfully, back to shelter. They hated each other at first. The wolf snarled when he approached. Keda flinched back each time. But the cold is a brutal teacher. It forces enemies into allies. He shared his food. He tended the wolf's wound. And in return, the wolf, though still wary, stayed. A fragile thread of trust began to take shape, thin as frost, but real. Time passed. Day by day, step by grueling step, they healed, together. He named the wolf Alpha. Their journey home was far from easy. Each challenge they faced carved their bond deeper. When the ice cracked beneath Keda's feet, Alpha dragged him back to solid ground with desperate strength. When Alpha collapsed from exhaustion, Keda carried him through the blizzard, whispering encouragement through chattering teeth. Food was scarce. They learned to hunt as one, Keda guiding with intelligence, Alpha striking with instinct. Danger lurked everywhere. A pack of starving hyenas chased them across the plains. Keda stumbled. Alpha turned back, fangs bared, standing between him and death without hesitation. Keda fought beside him, and together they drove the predators away. Storms, hunger, wounds, hopelessness, every obstacle tried to break them. But something greater kept them alive, trust. One night, when the sky glowed blue under the frozen moon, Keda stroked Alpha's fur and whispered, "You saved me." The wolf closed its eyes and rested its head on Keda's knee. Words were unnecessary after that. But the journey was not yet over. His tribe was still far away, and Keda's strength was fading. Fever burned through him. His steps slowed. He began to fall more often than he walked. Alpha nudged him, barked at him, tried to keep him moving. But even the strongest bond struggles against the weight of a dying body. In his delirium, Keda saw his father's face, heard his mother's voice calling him home. He whispered apologies to Alpha, believing their story would end in the snow. But Alpha refused. The wolf howled, long, desperate, echoing across the frozen land. Then with fierce determination, Alpha pushed against Keda's side until the boy's arms slid over his shoulders. Step by step, dragging Keda with incredible strength, Alpha forged ahead. Not a wolf leading a boy, but a friend refusing to lose the only family he had left. Hours turned into days. The journey blurred into a haze of storms and moonlight, until one evening a distant sound broke the quiet, a shout, a name carried on the wind. Keda! His father's voice. The tribe ran to him. They lifted Keda into their arms, relief washing across every face. And then they saw Alpha, snarling protectively, refusing to let anyone near at first. But when Keda weakly reached toward the wolf, Alpha stepped back, sitting quietly beside him. The tribe understood. Keda survived. Days passed. His wounds healed. His father held him tightly, often staring at Alpha with awe and gratitude. The wolf that once attacked had become the guardian who returned their son. When Keda finally stood strong again, he walked to Alpha, who watched him with eyes that knew every part of his soul. Keda knelt, touching his forehead to Alpha's. Go, he whispered softly. Your place is in the wild. But Alpha didn't move, because sometimes family isn't born, it's chosen. They remained together for years to come, a boy and a wolf, bound by survival, loyalty, and a love that defied nature itself. Their bond became legend, told around fires, whispered through generations. And the message of their journey echoed through time. Strength is not found in standing alone, but in the hearts we trust, the souls that walk beside us, and the courage to keep going, no matter how cold the world becomes. Dear viewers, if this story touched your heart, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness. Tell us your thoughts, your feelings, your favorite moment. Your support keeps these stories alive and keeps us creating more moments of kindness, courage, and hope.